Hi, I'm Phil Dispenza, and welcome back to Collecting, Investing, or Somewhere in Between. This is episode 5, featuring the Sega Master System. As many of you know, Sega Master System came out a little after the Nintendo, after the video game crash, and it was September of 1986. At least in the U.S. It was originally released in Japan a little time earlier, I think a year earlier. They had a total of 114 U.S. released games. I actually own 99 of them. Majority of them are actually in the box. I do own some foreign games, which I'll show because I have a couple of the same game, both U.S. and foreign version. So I'll show you at least one example of that. Since it's a small library and there's nothing really rare about any of the games. I don't know what they're going for now, but back then I could pick up most of the games between $1 to $3, even sealed, probably no more than 5. I don't have too many sealed games for this system. You'll find boxes common because they're sort of like video cassette boxes. They're hard plastic. They have, snap shut. So people had a tendency of saving the boxes like they did with the Genesis afterwards. You'll find Genesis all over the place too. Third party, there weren't too many. There's a few Activision games. There are a few Parker Brother games. There's one one other third-party game. It released one game. It's called Seismic, RC Grand Prix, and it looks like this game actually was released by Sega as an international version under their own license. Sega came out with a light gun, again similar to the Atari has the light gun and Nintendo has the light gun. So certain games will use you have to use the light gun and shoot whatever's on the screen. I'm going to show you a decent amount of examples. Some will be rarer, but by rare I mean at the time I mentioned about that price guide, there was, rare to him R5 to R7 out of 10. I don't think there was even an R8 or higher. And most of the games loose of the rare kind, $25 to $40. Again, this is 20-something years ago. So, you might not get a fortune for Sega Master System, but, you have your certain games that, again, I'm recommending for investing, especially if you can find it sealed. They're a little tougher, I'm going to show you, because the few sealed games I have, shrink wrap is usually not perfect because it has that hang tab, and the hang tab has a tendency of poking through. But, I know, more or less, if it's rare, again, even if the shrink wrap's not perfect, it's still worth grading. I made a list this time of the games I'm showing you. Some of the, like, which ones are rarer than others. So just glance over there once in a while. But I'm going to start with, got my handy stacks over here. Alex Kidd. Alex Kidd, I'm going to show you this. Let's see. Okay. There actually was 3 games released with the Alex Kidd titles. This is sealed. The shrink wrap is a little, flimsy, ripped. But if you look at the front, there's 99-cent. Nobody beats the whiz. It is possible that I did pick this up at that, the guy I mentioned with the sealed, all those whiz sealed games, Mattel. It's possible because I don't know where I would have gotten the whiz otherwise. I have a few, actually, I think 2 or 3. I'm going to show you with the whiz sticker there. But Alex Kidd Shinobi World, this is actually rare, and it's the rarest of the 3. And I think he gave it an R7 or something. So I think it was up there as one of the rarest of the titles released for Sega Master System. So if you can find Alex Kidd, like I said, sealed, worth buying. I'm going to show you this one. Maybe not as valuable and stuff, but it's another name you'll recognize from the 80s. Alf. There we go. Alf, alien life form. And since this one's open, I'm going to show you the inside. So there's your cartridge sits here in the two little plastic holder, and then your manual's got, oops, I'm pulling it out, the tabs to hold it in place. So most of the games you'll find complete, unless they took the manual out for some reason. You'll see the little Sega seal on the side on some of these things. I'm not too sure if they didn't come shrink wrapped, they came with a Sega seal. Unknown about that. The foreign games, the box is slightly different. I don't think the cartridge is different at all. The manual is definitely different. So I have maybe 7 or 8 foreign games, and most of them are the same exact title, but I'm going to show you one where they actually changed the title. So let's continue. Altered Beast. It's another game that you might remember. I don't know if this was released in the arcade, but the back of the games, usually it says made in Japan, but it has U.S. address or contact information, phone number. So Altered Beast, it is arcade. It says arcade, so I'm assuming this came out in the arcade. So if you, again, Master System lasted maybe till about 90 or so. It's not too many years for the fact that they came out with the Genesis. So once you come out with a different system, especially if it's not compatible with another one, you're going to move on instead of keep developing for the older system, because you have better technology, which usually equals better graphics and better gameplay. Another one, this one's by Activision, a little rarer. Most of the third parties, Activision and Parker Brothers, and even at RC Grand Prix. I just looked that one up last night because I do not have that. It's one of the 15 games I'm missing. That is, they're usually more expensive than the Sega release games. Bomber Raid, Activision game, and it sort of looks like Ace of Aces, or 1943 rather, not Ace of Aces, where you're blowing up stuff from above. But I guess, again, a lot of the games companies would put out are similar. The reason, good, I wanted to cover this. The reason why there's only 114 games is because Nintendo sort of like crushed the licensing with Sega. So Sega had a hard time, I guess, either acquiring licenses or with the third parties, because of the fact that again, it's like a monopoly, and they probably weren't supposed to do it, and eventually got shut down from doing it. But they would, I'm assuming Nintendo would, I'm not going to say threaten, but put in their little, say to the companies, look, if you go to somebody else, we're not going to carry you. It's sort of like a bribe, rather. So Sega does not have that big of a library, which is great for a collector, because you could probably fill in an entire library for maybe a few $1,000s, maybe not even that. Okay, moving on. Another rare game, Fantasy Zone. And you'll see some of these titles. I think they might have released Fantasy Zone later on for different systems, but some of the titles start here with one. It's like Nintendo with Zelda, and then they just, every time they came out with a new system, they created more Zeldas and stuff. So, the characters just continue. So Fantasy Zone, one of the rarer titles. Another one that's rarer, which I think was pretty cool graphics. It says 8-bit cartridge, was eSWAT. Graphics meaning the front, the drawing graphics, not the graphics of the game. But again, this is higher quality. They used a Z80 processor, which Most people are not going to know what that is, but when I was in NJIT, taking my computer engineering courses, we use Z80 chips and stuff. Another rare game, Cyborg Hunter. And when I mean rare, R3 to R5 out of 10. Again, with this guy's price guide, most of these would probably be in the $12 to $20 range loose at the time. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on any specifics unless something cool comes up like this. This is probably one of the rarest, again, of the system. Why? Castle of Illusion, and it features Mickey Mouse. So I believe this might be the only Disney things, and this is Mickey Mouse himself. It's not Sorcerer's Apprentice. He's not dressed up, so you see Mickey Mouse. Let me see if I have the manual. Yes, I do. Notice the cartridge title is really long. There's the manual here, and it's called Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. So it's a pretty big title, but Disney, you find this sealed and then get it graded. Another one you should recognize. Now, this is one of them I pulled out. Epic's put it out for Atari, and it's been on many different systems, California Games. And the reason why I actually pulled this out, because it's really not that rare, it's complete, is because I actually have the foreign version. So here's the foreign version. And if you hold them up side by side, you're not going to see really anything different with it. I'll point out something else, but you look at the back, this is where the differences are. So one of them, same screenshots. This one that I'm holding, I'm going to hold up close. It's got 5 languages on the back, and it says made in Japan, and there's no U.S. contact information. And then this one is the U.S. version. It's all in English, and it has the contact information, 800 USA Sega. What I did want to point out, if you notice the hang tab, a lot of these things are broken. They have a tendency, because they stick up, so they'll get pressed or crushed, and with plastic, usually if you fold it back and forth, eventually it's just going to snap. So you'll find a lot of Genesis games, you'll find Master System games where the tab is broken. Another game that, let me see if I have this complete. Yeah, I do. Another game that's not really worth too much, but recognizable, and I didn't show this, for some reason I didn't show this at all with the Atari, is Ghostbusters. I did mention in the video, intro video, about re-releasing being a flop in the movies, but Ghostbusters, there was Ghostbusters 2 for the Atari also, but everybody loves, you got Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's actually a picture of him in there in a screenshot. And again, Ghostbusters, a name brand, and there's several name brand things or recognizable where I'm going to get to that, like I said, might not be worth too much, but again, because it's in your face and popular, it might be worth getting graded anyway, because you get those cross collectibles. Next on the list, this is Golden Axe. Now, this is another one. This is rarer, or not super rare, but this, for some reason, I have it marked down that I have both the U.S. release version and the Japanese foreign release. Is this? It's 5 languages again. This is 5 languages. So I can't find my U.S. release game. Maybe I marked it down and then realized it was foreign and I didn't unmark it. But again, it's unique to the 99 that I have. In fact, I didn't count the foreign versions with the list at all. So even though I own 99 of the 114 US, like I said, I have another 7 or 8 or something. If I don't have the duplicate of the Golden Axe, maybe I pulled it out thinking it was the same for some reason. Moving on. The most common game in the entire system. Hang on. and Astro Warriors. So you get 2 games in one. Hang on the motorcycle game, Astro Warriors, some space game. This is the game that came with the system. Just like Combat for Atari, this is, you'll find, I wasn't even buying too many Master Systems. I couldn't find too much in the wild on Master System. Found tons of Genesis, and they were always sports games. But the Master System, for some reason, I had a hard time finding a lot of these in the wild. I went to Video Game Store, and that's where I picked up a couple of the sealed games and stuff. But this game, if I had one duplicate of any of the other games here, that was a lot. This one, I probably had about 6 complete in the box. Because, like I said, it's the packing game. So the only reason why I mentioned it. If you remember, it was ColecoVision last video. I mentioned Sierra came out with King's Quest. And sure enough, this is Parker Brothers, though. It's because it says a Sierra Online. So it says King's Quest is a trademark of Sierra Online. So that's the license, Sierra, but Parker Brothers probably asked them, can I make this? And like I said, there were, on the computer, I think there were 6 of these because they were so popular. And I mentioned Perils of Rosella Part 4 when I had my IBM, or early clone IBM. Another rarer game, it's the reason why I pulled it out. It feels very heavy. It's called Miracle Warriors. I don't know how many games actually came with maps. Oops, there goes my cartridge. But this is one of them, and there's the map right there. So let me pick up my cartridge. And so a couple of games I think came with maps. That's one of them. It's a little on the rare side. The King's Quest is also on the rare side. And another one that I've mentioned in the past for other systems was Montezuma's Revenge. Very popular game. And again, this was released by Parker Brothers. So this is on the rare side. Next, another one, Phantasy Star, on the rare side. And I believe that they actually made sequels to these, if I can remember right. Because I have a Genesis. I have some games for it, but that's actually a system I never readily collected. It's like Super Nintendo. I have a system, and the only reason why I bought that is because I found it at a garage sale with it was like 10 or 12 box games, and I only paid $30 for it. So another system I don't readily collect. I just happen to have one. Here I'm showing this one again because it's sealed and it has that 99-cent whiz thing. This isn't that rare. It's called Psycho Fox, and shrink wrap. The shrink wrap for this one is a lot better. But if you look at the top, you see the split. See if I can get a better angle on it. You see it's all split open, and that's because of the hang tag. So you're never going to probably find these things perfect. And I don't know how grading companies handle that. All right, I'm going to move on to some more cool stuff. Another name, and I have 2. I don't know if they came out with the first one, but this is Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, and this is part 2, First Blood, and not that valuable, but the fact that it features a nice drawing of Sylvester Stallone as Rambo with his giant rocket launcher there, cross collectible, as a valuable piece of video game for Sega Master System, probably not. But as a person who collects Rambo merchandise, or like Sylvester Stallone collects his movie stuff or whatever, definitely worth it. And here's the other one, Rambo 3. And if you look, there's a used price tag on this. I never tried to pull it off. I probably could. It says Cash Converters. So it sounds more like a porn shop, Cash Converters. Because, what do? You bring your stuff and get cash. So Rambo 3, again, This one, it looks like it is a photo cover. I mean, a photo of Sylvester Stallone on the front cover. So you Rambo collectors, and we'll get to another thing afterwards with him. Rampage. I showed this as another one by Activision, so it is a little rarer. But again, Rampage arcade. You're one of the three monsters. You're the wolf, you're the King Kong monkey guy, or you're the sort of like the Godzilla guy. They're not called that. It's called Ralph the Wolf, George the Ape, and Lizzie the Lizard. So, yeah, I remember playing this in the arcade, and I've mentioned this before. It was a fun game because at one point, because it's just like the Godzilla movies, you beat up the trolley car instead of the subway train and stuff. So you just keep punching it and breaking windows and stuff and eating. That's the other thing. You grab the people and put it in your mouth. Another popular game you probably would recognize is by Tato, is Rastan from the arcade. And your Conan-like character. So I mention it because it's popular, not really rare. And back to Sylvester Stallone. Photo is Rocky. And you remember last episode with ColecoVision, you had that Rocky Super Action Boxing. So, again, Rocky, a popular person, name, movie. How many movies did they make? 6? 7? I don't even know. They made a lot. Okay, here's one. I pulled out. This is probably not worth too much. I paid $5 for this, and I think I might even have another duplicate of it. It is, and the reason why I pulled it out is because he's a very, very famous baseball player, Reggie Jackson. So they gave Reggie Jackson his own baseball game, and if you notice, this is probably one of my best shrink wraps. The top is actually pretty nice, even though it's split because the hang tab is hanging out. But overall, this thing is in really, really nice condition. Maybe I'd send it to get it graded. But I remember when I went to the video game store, he had several copies of that. And I bought 3 total because I think he charged $5 each. But even when I left there, West New York and New Jersey, I think he might have still had some. Because, again, people didn't care about vintage video games. I bought them out of the Atari because I think I got like $2 a piece. I paid $2 a piece on. So again, another one. Then this time, Sega makes them, and this is one of the rares on the list. Is Spider-Man, and you can't pass up Spider-Man. Spider-Man, probably the most popular superhero besides, for at least for Marvel, you have Batman and Superman, but Spider-Man will always be popular. So I'm going to show you. The thing with the Sega Master Systems, the sports games are very, very common. So you'll have the great baseball, great football, great hockey, great whatever, tennis or volleyball, whatever it is. But, and this is why I wanted to show you, this is called Tennis Ace. This is great tennis, but this is the foreign version. And this is one example where, because like I said, I never went into the price guide that I used, never listed the foreign games for the Master System. So there are probably other titles that they changed. I never did my little homework, my investigation, like I always tell everybody to do, on games that, how many foreign games are out there for the Master System, because it was popular in Europe, and then they actually continued in Brazil, and like I said, everything ended about 1990, because they move on to the Master System. So one more stack and we'll be done, or close to done. Another I thought was cool game. It's called Time Soldiers. Not super rare, but I'll show the front and back so you maybe get some screenshots there. So there's nice looking graphics on the box. I wanted to talk about this is Transbot. There are a few games that if you look, they're not cartridges, they're cards. These are similar to what TurboGrafx came out with, TurboGrafx 16. And I'm going to open this up to show you the card. And the Sega Master System had where you could just slide the card in. And, you know, it's part of the library. Even though it's not a cartridge, it's still part of the library. And there's my little manual for it. So I know there's a Ghost game. I think it was called Ghost Town or something. So the card games, and they take up a lot less room than the thin cases. So it's something that you might want to consider maybe getting graded. Now, besides Reggie Jackson, this one's again probably not valuable much at all, unless things have changed, especially since he's passed away. Walter Payton football. So you had Reggie Jackson baseball, Walter Payton football, and there's one other one that I don't have, which I'll mention. And I bought this somewhere for $4.99 used or something, because that is the type of label that I would have bought. Maybe that's the same guy with the Supermans that I bought. Those two Supermans, and they must have some kind of like hints or something. Not hints, or maybe something codes. Remember the old days, you couldn't save games, so you had to type in these codes to continue where you were, or to get cheats and things. This is one I'm showing. Is called Wanted. It's a Western game. It looks pretty cool. If you look there in a saloon in the back, but it mentions specifically at the bottom of the back here that you have to use the light gun. They called it a light phase gun, light phaser. So that's why I'm showing that one. This is another one that's probably not worth too much, but Nintendo had something, maybe the same title. But if you've watched PBS, you might know Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. And if you ever watched that show, I was a little older for that, but it might be something that I'll collect this, because I remember this from my childhood, and that was the whole purpose of these videos. Besides the investing aspect, is bringing your childhood back. So again, Wonder Boy. Now Wonder Boy is another one of these, like the Alex Kidd. They came out with 3 games. This is the first one. It's just called Wonder Boy. The reason why I'm holding up 2, the front looks the same, but again, I have 1 regular and 1 foreign. So you got the English, and then you got your 5 languages. So that's why I'm showing you Wonder Boy, because there's no real value to Wonder Boy, the first release, but there is some kind of nice investment potential for the third release. Because what is usually the most valuable is the stuff that's released towards the end of the system when it's dying out. So here it says specifically on the back, there's a password save, so you can save your progress. So this is called the Dragon's Trap. I do have it complete. Manual's not that great. And the final game that I have that I'm going to show you, you're going to recognize this. Trying to think. For some reason, it seems like it was the TurboGrafx CD. I had a friend who bought that system immediately, and they came out with we called it East. I don't know if it's called East Wise or whatever. But I remember playing this for TurboGrafx CD that the day it came out, and it says includes battery backup memory. Now, granted, I guarantee that almost all these batteries are dead, because you're talking over 30 years old. So this is another one of the rare games on the list. Like I said, rare R5 to R7 or something. I got 6 games listed, rare R5s to R7s that I don't own. Reggie Jackson baseball, Walter Payton football. One of the rare games is Buster Douglas boxing. And if you remember the 80s, I think prior to Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, popular boxer, and was he heavyweight champion? I'm not too sure. So one on the list for investing. another one. I had Golden Axe, but this one's called Golden Axe Warrior. So again, one of the rare ones I don't own. Recommended to get graded. I mentioned in the Atari video, part 2, which technically I just released this past weekend. I'm recording this Sunday morning. I recorded some of these videos way in advance in case I can't do recordings. I mentioned about there weren't too many bands, music related video games, and I mentioned Journey. Well, the one game I do not have, and you're going to pay a decent amount of money for, is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. So if you could find that, especially sealed, definitely grab it at a reasonable price. There's a game, I have no clue what there's 2 games out of the final 3. I have no idea. I didn't read up on them, how gameplay is. One's called Power Strike. The other one's called Strider. So those 2 games are rare. Now, I mentioned the sports games, again, being common. They came out with great hockey, but there is a hockey game that's much rarer. It's called Slapshot. I don't think it has anything to do with the movie, if you remember, with Paul Newman. So that's my Sega Master System video, and I'm not too sure where I'm going from here. I might move on to Nintendo if I can. I do have a lot of Nintendo, but I might. I'm supposed to be working with another guy in a Nintendo, someone who had every game for that system. So I was going to pass off part of the video to him and have him explain. But so, end of this, I got to see if I can find other video game systems. That's why, if you notice, I went out of order here. I wanted to cover my Odyssey 2. I have my Bally Astrocade, maybe with Fairchild Channel F. There's a lot of other systems that came out prior to the crash that I want to cover, but I can't find right now because, like I said, things are still packed away. So I'm going to end this video. Make your comments if you want to subscribe and learn new things each week. Ask questions, like if you like it, and we'll see you next time. Just needed to add a quick thing. I don't know where my brain was this morning when I was recording this, but on the rare list of games I do not have, and should have been mentioned, is Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the first release for the Sega system, and only one Sonic the Hedgehog was released for the Master System, and of course Genesis had several. And from then on, Sonic was their little mascot, if you want to call it that. So Sonic, if you can find it rare, find it sealed, definitely one of the top rare games released for the Master System. And I'll see you next time.